We've been a leader in banking for more than 100 years. You'll find us here, at home, on your phone, and everywhere you go. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Sponsored by Renaissance Bank.
Good morning and welcome to Daily Journal Newsbreak. Today is Wednesday, May 9th, and I'm your host, Chris Kiefer, and we're going to take a look at the top news and sports stories from Northeast Mississippi. But first, let's start with your weather forecast. Today we're looking at partly cloudy skies with a high of 89 and a low of 64. Looking ahead at the three-day outlook, Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 90 and a low of 64. Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 90 and a low of 63. And Saturday, sunny, high of 90 and a low of 66. Let's take a look now at today's top headlines. Tupelo Mayor Jason Shelton abruptly announced on Tuesday that he is dropping his bid for the U.S. Senate seat formerly held by Thad Cochran. Shelton released a statement on Tuesday saying that after much prayer and consideration, he had reached the decision to withdraw his candidacy. The second-term Democratic mayor announced in early April that he would compete in the special election to replace Cochran, who retired in the middle of his term. Shelton held a formal campaign kickoff and fundraiser about 2 weeks ago. Shelton acknowledged from the beginning that he'd face hurdles in establishing widespread name recognition, but he repeatedly pledged to run a hard-working campaign. Shelton's statement did not detail any specific reasons for his decision to withdraw. He declined an interview request through a campaign spokesman. Shelton's announcement leaves 4 candidates in the race. Those are interim U.S. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, State Senator Chris McDaniel, former Democratic Congressman Mike Espy, and Gaucher resident Toby Bartee. 24 guardsmen from a Tupelo-based helicopter company will spend the next 3 weeks patrolling and protecting the U.S. border with Mexico. About 25 soldiers from Company C of the 1st Battalion, 114th Aviation Regiment are deploying for 3 weeks in support of Operation Guardian Support. That operation is a joint task force effort to conduct security operations along the U.S. southwest border with Mexico. They will provide aerial surveillance support to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection and the U.S. Border Patrol using 3 UH-72 Lakota helicopters. The Guardsmen will be flying their aircraft from Tupelo to the border. Their mission will be completed before the end of the month. A special send-off ceremony will be held on Friday at 10 a.m. at the Tupelo Army Aviation Support Facility. That facility is located at 3005 West Jackson Street. The event is open and the public is encouraged to attend. This will be the 4th time the unit has conducted Southwest border security operations. The Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality has ordered work to stop on the site of the Pinnacle Point development. MDEQ investigated a complaint that the proper permits were not obtained before workers began to clear the 28-acre site. The agency then told Fusion Hospitality and company CEO Bruce Patel that they had violated a state code regarding stormwater runoff. The inspection report also had photos, including some that showed visible brown silt discoloration flowing into Legion Lake. Work on the site began last month on what eventually could be a $50 million project. Last June, Patel and his Tupelo-based Fusion Hospitality outlined plans for a senior living community, retail stores, and restaurants as part of the development. The project would encompass about 28 acres stretching from the west side of North Gloucester Street toward Legion Lake. But site work on the property raised concerns of homeowners living near and around Legion Lake, as well as American Legion Post 49. Patel has 10 days to respond to the alleged violations to explain actions that will be taken to correct violations and a schedule for doing so. And in sports, Caitlin Lee was the darling of an Ole Miss run to the SEC softball tournament championship a year ago. This time, she has a greater appreciation for the entire event. Lee said that she didn't have anything to be excited for going into last year's tournament, but she now knows exactly what to expect. It's a mix of excitement and relief for most Ole Miss players. The Rebels' season fell below expectations for a group that narrowly missed the Women's College World Series last year. The Rebels began the season with a neutral site win over second-ranked Oregon. Then they struggled to a 30-22 record, including just 7-17 in the SEC. In fact, Ole Miss needed a series win over 5th-ranked Georgia last weekend just to qualify for the SEC tournament and have a chance to defend its title. Now the Rebels are the 12th seed. They will take on 5th seed LSU at 4 p.m. today in Columbia, Missouri. Meanwhile, Mississippi State takes on Texas A&M today. And that does it for Newsbreak on this Wednesday. Don't forget that this show is just one of the many online offerings courtesy of the Daily Journal that gets you news off the page and on the go. Check out the Prep Rally podcast with Brad Locke and Dalton Middleton talking about the latest in Northeast Mississippi high school sports. Look for a new episode this afternoon in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or at preprally.thejournal.com. And each story discussed today on Newsbreak can be found in your Daily Journal or online at thejournal.com, where you can also find a new episode of Newsbreak each weekday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Kiefer. Have a great Wednesday.